tonight on Grady Newsource.
After an investigation of more than 30 days, Athens police say the man responsible for a series of car break-ins that happened in early March has finally been arrested. More coming up.
Also tonight, how to keep your children safe if you own a gun.
You've got to be a responsible gun owner.
And the governor signs the new medical marijuana bill. What that means to you.
Governor Kemp signed a bill today to legalize the sale and distribution of medical marijuana. Coming up, I'll have the details and some local perspectives.
This is Northeast Georgia's only local source for TV news. From the Grady College at the University of Georgia, this is Grady Newsource.
Good evening and welcome to Grady Newsource. I'm Veronica Obey.
And I'm Sarah Hammond.
We begin with an arrest and a string of a story we reported first on social media. Athens Clarke County Police tells us the suspect is also accused of identity fraud. Reporter Sydney Heiberger is live at the police department. And Sydney, this man is facing charges in multiple states.
Yeah, that's right. Police say a man is in custody for breaking into cars, stealing purses, and then cashing fraudulent checks in both Georgia and Alabama. Now, Athens police say they had 30 warrants out for this man's arrest. Were broken into earlier in March. One victim, who asked not to be identified, says she was walking her dog with a friend when she received a distressing call from police.
We went back to my car and my window was busted.
Her purse was gone.
And thankfully, I don't have any check. So I think I was one of the lucky ones.
Athens police say 26-year-old Parrish Roberts broke into cars parked in public areas like Ben Burton Park, Bishop Park, and St. Joseph's Church. They say he stole purses and phones from the vehicles and then went to the bank to cash stolen checks. Athens police says Roberts was part of Felony Lane Gang. It's when criminals use the furthest to cash stolen checks.
They can use that lane with the possibility of not being readily identified, as opposed to when they go to the first lane in a drive-through, they have to have personal interaction with an individual.
Police told me Roberts faces 30 charges, including 9 counts of entering auto, 11 counts of identity fraud, and 10 counts of financial transaction card theft. The victim I spoke with said she has learned an important lesson.
It was really the first time that I had ever left my purse in the car. So yeah, that will definitely be the first and the
Gillen told me Roberts is in custody in Alabama, facing charges similar to the ones he faces here in Athens. Outside the Athens Clarke County Police Department, Sydney Heiberger, Grady Newsource.
Thanks, Sydney. Athens police are looking for 2 men in connection with an armed robbery at the Rite Aid on Prince Avenue. Officers say witnesses told them the men demanded prescription drugs. One man reportedly had a firearm. The suspects fled after Sunday's robbery. Crime Stoppers is offering a $1,000 reward for any information leading to their arrest. And another arrest has been made in connection with the deaths of 2 Athens Clarke County men found in a storage unit in Gwinnett County. Grady Newsource reporter Donovan Harris is live in the newsroom with the new developments.
Sarah, the men disappeared in December. We've been following the case since January. The bodies of Joshua Jackson and Derek Ruff were found in late March. Now 24-year-old Shabazz Larry Guidry has been charged with 2 counts of concealing the death of another and 2 counts of participation in criminal gang activity. Police say 30-year-old Leslie Chappelle Green also faces 2 counts of concealing the death of another. Gwinnett County Police are still looking for 32-year-old Robert Maurice Carlisle for participating in criminal gang activity and concealing the death of another. And police are looking for 29-year-old Justin Jamal Davis for conspiracy to commit a crime. Gwinnett County Police Department detectives are asking anyone with information about the case to call their criminal investigations line or contact Crime Stoppers if they wish to remain anonymous. Reporting live from the newsroom, I'm Donovan Harris.
Thanks, Donovan. Two recent accidents involving guns and children point out the importance of gun safety. I spoke with Oconee County Sheriff Scott Berry about how you can keep your children safe.
Tragedies happen, but yeah, I did my best to demystify the mystique of a firearm with my children and with my grandchildren.
Sheriff Berry is talking about gun safety in the wake of two accidental shootings in Georgia involving children and guns. The Paulding County Sheriff's Office says a 4-year-old accidentally shot his 6-year-old sister in a car. The 4-year-old gained access to a gun in a car console similar to this one. That's when he took the gun and accidentally shot his 6-year-old sister while his mother was outside of the vehicle. Bill Brassard, the Director of Communications for Project Child Safe, told me it's important to talk to children about gun safety often.
It's important for parents, whether they own guns or not, to talk about firearm safety with their children and to remind them on a regular basis of what they should do if they should encounter an unsecured gun, which is to stop, don't touch, get away, tell an adult.
Sheriff Berry told me he regularly talks about gun safety with his children and grandchildren.
I would stop, make sure the firearm was safe, and we would look at it.
It is also important to make sure that all firearms are kept away from children and locked. A gun seller who did not want to be identified showed me a trigger lock.
Make sure your slide's racked back. Slide it through the bottom of the mag well.
Sheriff Berry said locks like these can make all the difference in keeping children safe and saving their lives.
Today, Governor Brian Kemp signed Georgia's new medical marijuana bill into law. Grady Newsource reporter Danny Terzer tells us patients with serious medical conditions now have a new treatment option.
These families can now stay in our great state.
Governor Kemp signed House Bill 234, allowing for the production, sale, and purchase of medical marijuana in Georgia. Athens resident Luis Huiso, who runs a pro-marijuana Facebook page, thinks it's time.
It's a great step for Georgia.
Previous legislation allowed for the possession of low THC oil, but there was no way for patients to access it. House Bill 234 eliminates this obstacle. There are thousands of Georgians with serious medical conditions that can be eased by medical marijuana.
When real people with real struggles share their all too real stories of pain and heartache, it brings our job to finding real solutions and real relief to the forefront.
The bill says minorities, women, and veterans should all have a presence in the medical marijuana industry.
If you look at it, minorities are not allowed into just because economical reasons.
The General Assembly drew a distinction between medical and recreational marijuana.
I think a lot of people still confuse the two, that if it's legalized, then I can use it recreationally.
But the bill says Georgia will continue to strongly enforce the laws against the illegal uses of the drug. For Grady Newsource, I'm Danny Terzer.
Now, many believe that despite strict medical guidelines, the new bill might be a step on the road towards legalizing marijuana for recreational use. Slithering snakes might do wonders for our ecosystem, but coming up, find out which snakes to stay away from.
Are your children in the right car seat for their age and size? Is the seat supposed to be forward-facing or rear-facing? Did they move to a booster seat too soon? It may be too late to check when you're on the road. Fortunately, you're on the couch. Car crashes are a leading killer of children 1 to 13. Don't think you know. Know you know.
I'm a single mother, and I was the main one working, so I never thought that I could go back to school, you know? My sister, my mother, everybody wanted to help me with my kids. I could not have gotten my diploma without my family.
Find free adult education classes near you at finishyourdiploma.org.
It's a beautiful day out here. Sunny today with light breezes, giving way to clouds in the afternoon. We could see some light precipitation to moderate precipitation later on, followed by powerful storm-like conditions. 90-mile-per-hour winds are expected. Authorities are asking everyone, stay indoors. Come on, that's it. Let's go.
This is the season when snakes are on the move. If you plan to spend time in your yard or the woods, you need to be careful. Grady Newsource reporter Vera Hallam tells us there are 3 venomous species in northeast Georgia.
If you come across a snake while spending time outdoors, chances are it's harmless. There are 6 venomous species in all of Georgia, but only 3 in Athens. You're probably not going to get bitten if you're just hanging out at the park, but on the chance that you are, the best thing to do is to take a writing utensil and circle the spot where you're bitten. So then when you go to the hospital, they can evaluate where the poison might have spread or if it was even spread at all.
When you encounter a snake like that, it's best to just give it its space and walk away. And that's the case for pretty much every snake. Snakes don't chase people. They're not out to get you. They're just trying to live their snake lives.
As snakes emerge from hibernation, they are going through shedding, finding mates, and food. Some of the most common ones you might come across are corn snakes, king snakes, and black rat snakes. Snakes don't chase and they aren't likely to hurt you, but if you aren't comfortable around snakes, there are things you can do.
Keeping debris piles and wood piles away from your house keeps snakes away from your house because it keeps rodents away from your house, and it keeps away. Having bird feeders right up against your back door brings birds around, so then you're probably going to have predators of birds around, and so snakes are one of those predators. So sometimes some really simple things like just keeping things that snakes like just away from the immediate areas around your house will lower your encounter rates with them if you're not comfortable with them.
For Grady Newsource, I'm Vera Hallam.
Most species are not harmful, and it is illegal to kill non-venomous snakes in Georgia.
Some residents in Jefferson are falling victim to a phone scam. Police say scammers are pretending to be employees from Georgia Power, Jackson EMC, and other businesses. If you pick up the phone and are told that you must go buy Walmart, Visa, or MasterCard gift cards to make a payment immediately, it's a scam. The Jefferson Police Department advises to never make a payment over the phone unless you are positive you know exactly where your payment is going.
Have you ever wondered if your cell phone and other electronic devices are feeding you ads based on your personal conversations? Grady Newsource reporter Christina Evans has been looking into what Siri and Alexa are learning about you.
Have you ever had the feeling that someone is eavesdropping on your conversations? Siri?
I'm here.
Most people have an expectation that actual humans aren't hearing their conversations.
Siri, Alexa, and Hey Google are all smartphone or smart speaker services that have become an integral part of our daily lives. I talked to Professor John Weatherford of the New Media Institute to find out if our phones are listening to us and if they're giving us ads based on what they hear.
To my knowledge, there aren't any major advertising platforms that function by perpetually recording your conversation and then using that to serve you ads. Although there is enough unexpected, creepy feeling tracking going on the web that the chances of that occurring are actually pretty higher than one might expect.
I'll have tips on ensuring your privacy and more of my interview with Professor Weatherford on our website at gradynewsource.com. I'm Christina Evans.
I'm Luke Gamble with your Northeast Georgia Sports. Georgia's gymnastics team will compete for the national championship this weekend, and they say it could be the best performance of the year.
I really do think we're peaking at the right time, and I think we're going to be even better this weekend.
Hi, I'm Peter, and there's nothing I love more than sharing vegetables with my friends.
Come on
in. Help yourself to anything. That's why we give our food the utmost respect it deserves. Did you know there are simple steps we can all take to help save food? You can cook it, store it, even share it. Just don't waste it. Because when it comes to food, better ache than never. To learn more, visit SaveTheFood.com.
You think getting dumped by text is harsh? Try getting dumped by a tennis ball. My ex-owner drove me out to the woods, yelled fetch, and by the time I brought the ball back, he was gone. Yeah, I was pissed. But the folks at the shelter helped me let go of my anger. I learned coping skills, like taking it to the hole. Boom! Now I'm ready to fetch again. But how about I throw and you run and get it?
Attention travelers. Next Tuesday, a major power outage will cause complete chaos throughout the city. Food, water, and phone service will be in short supply. There will likely be panic citywide. Stand clear of the closing doors, please.
Disasters don't plan ahead. You can. Talk to your loved ones about how you're going to be ready in an emergency. Don't wait. Communicate.
Everybody has a dream. Mine was to see the ocean. And with a little help, I made it.
And now, sports.
I'm Luke Gamble with your Northeast Georgia sports. While you were sleeping last night, the 5th-ranked Georgia baseball team collected their 30th win of the season in historic fashion. This was the scene at 1:35 a.m. when freshman Connor Tate hit a walk-off single in the bottom of the 20th inning to give the Bulldogs a 3-2 win over Clemson. The game was the longest in Georgia history, lasting 6 hours and 33 minutes. The Bulldogs don't have much time to worry about sleep. They return to the Diamond tomorrow night for the series opener against Missouri. Georgia is headed to the NCAA Gymnastics National Championships, and a lot of their fans are going with them. I attended their last practice in Athens, and it was packed with Gym Dog supporters. Junior Sabrina Vega completed her beam routine in front of excited fans during the Gym Dogs' final practice. Nearly 100 people lined the mat just days before the NCAA Championships in Fort Worth. The Gym Dogs say they're counting on the fans to energize them this Friday and Saturday.
It helps us, especially knowing that we have so many fans coming this weekend. It kind of makes us feel a little bit more at home. You really feel the energy from them.
Georgia coaches say Bulldog fans and UCLA fans have bought more tickets than any other schools. The coaches expect the lower bowl of the arena to be filled with red and black.
And so when you're interacting with fans, you're loosening yourself up to go out and compete better. That's what we're excited for.
The Gym Dogs are coming off their best performance of the season after placing second at regionals with a 198.050 out of 200 possible points. The Gym Dogs currently have 10 national championships, which is the most in NCAA history. The Gym Dogs also have 42 individual national championships. Georgia is the second lowest ranked team entering the national championships, but sophomore Marissa Oakley says this weekend could be their best performance.
We've been talking about it all year, just slowly climbing up the mountain, peaking at the right time, and I really do think we're peaking at the right time, and I think we're going to be even better this weekend.
The Gym Dogs will take the floor in Fort Worth, Texas, Friday night at 7.
For the 4th overall selection, the Chicago Bandits take an infielder from Georgia, Alyssa DiCarlo.
Georgia's senior shortstop Alyssa DiCarlo is the 14th softball player in Bulldog history to be selected in the National Pro Fast Pitch Draft. DiCarlo owns Georgia's career home runs, RBI, and extra base hit records. She also leads active Division I softball players in home runs, RBIs, and total bases. DiCarlo will lead the Bulldogs against Georgia Tech tonight at 7. I'm Luke Gamble, and that's your Northeast Georgia Sports.
I'm Majesty Bass, and I'll be presenting your weather for today. We have some sunshine for today and tomorrow, and for Easter Sunday.
Hello.
Hi, I'm from Blue Hood Stone Barns. We brought a meal for you, and I'm here to serve it to you.
Okay, great. Come in.
Zucchini carbonara, made from zucchini that was harvested earlier this morning.
Again?
Hey, Dan Barber.
You have room for a little bit more?
Come on in.
Brochettes with sausage. So when we made that zucchini carbonara, you know, they're the end pieces of the zucchini, and they're the cores that we cut away, not to mention zucchini flower. Usually those get thrown out. We use them to create an entire second dish. Does that, oh.
Again?
I'm here to bring you your third course. It's the vines from your zucchini.
We'll have a little zucchini stem pasta, a different experience of zucchini. When we start to think differently about our food, we can get a lot more out of it.
This is delicious.
What do you think we can make out of this? 40% of food in America is never eaten. Cook it, store it, share it. Visit SaveTheFood.com.
1 in 6 seniors faces the threat of hunger, and millions more live in isolation.
America, let's do lunch.
Drop off a hot meal and say a quick hello. Volunteer for Meals on Wheels by donating your lunch break at americaletsdolunch.org.
Laughing too hard at one of your colleagues' jokes at the office party? He's not even funny. Warning sign, those drinks are probably going to your head. Probably okay isn't okay when it comes to drinking and driving.
They call me Maxie, but I prefer tripod. I was your above-average four-legged homie, and then wham, bam, minivan. Some people pity me. Now that's lame. I still run, fetch, and swim. And the ladies love me. I'm the ultimate wingman. Just don't ask me to high five.
And now, the weather.
I'm Majesty Bass, and I'll be presenting your weather for today. We'll start off with your local weather, then go to your G-Day weather, and end with your 5-day forecast to help you plan for your Easter weekend. Tonight in Athens, beginning at 6 p.m., it'll be 80 degrees. By 9 p.m., we'll be at 71 degrees, and at midnight, it will be 64 degrees. Tomorrow morning in Athens, beginning at 9 a.m., it'll be 64 degrees. By noon, we'll be at 76 degrees, and at 3 p.m. tomorrow, it will be 80 degrees and sunny. So get out and enjoy the great weather for tomorrow. Now for your G-Day weather, at 2 p.m. in Sanford Stadium, it'll be 53 degrees. There's a 20% chance of showers, so make sure you bring an umbrella with you to the game. Now for your 5-day forecast. We'll see some sunshine today and tomorrow, but by Friday, we will have some showers rolling on in. On Saturday, we'll have a high of 61, a low of 45, and by Easter Sunday, it'll be 77 degrees and sunny. I'm Majesty Bass, and that has been your weather.
2 women in Winterville take care of over 200 animals. Coming up, I'll tell you what Sweet Olive Farm means to the owners and the community.
People will look forward to coming out and like interacting with the animals, and it's just, I think it's really meaningful.
There's a lot of fear in coming back to school. I'm a 40-year-old man that walked in there to get his high school diploma. It was very hard for me, but one of the teachers was Miss Araceli. She gave me direction. Every single time I had a question, she'll put down whatever she's doing and she'll sit there with you until you get it. 50% of getting your high school diploma is walking through those doors. The other 50% is doing the work.
Find free adult education classes near you at finishyourdiploma.org.
Is your family in need of more quality time together?
Hello, I'm Dr. Spruce. Nature is best enjoyed together. So bring the whole family to discover all the bonding and stress-reducing benefits parks and forests have to offer. Visit discovertheforest.org and trade in phone time for family time.
Birds, squirrels, chipmunks, grass, worms, bugs, trees, rocks, and other objects in nature cannot talk. If you'd like to have a conversation while visiting nature, you will need to bring humans along. We strongly recommend starting with your family.
La 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 la. I love you so. I love you. I love you. La 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 la. La 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 la.
We're here.
Yay!
It's a short drive from your neighborhood to your naturehood. To find a neighborhood park or green space near you, visit discovertheforest.org.
2 women in Winterville have spent the last 9 years rescuing animals from all over the Southeast. Sweet Olive Farm takes in elderly, abused, or homeless farm and exotic animals and gives them a home. It all started with 10 dogs and a pot-bellied pig named Mr. Thelma. After Kat Hawkins and her wife Susan got a ticket in Atlanta for having too many dogs, they moved out to Winterville where they took in their first farm animal in 2010.
When the animal control officer came, she said, "Hey, do y'all want a pot-bellied pig? That'll really make your neighbors mad." And I was like, okay.
After that, Sweet Olive Farm was on speed dial for Fulton County and other pig rescues. They now have 110 four-legged animals and another 100 ducks, chickens, and geese roaming their 22.5-acre property. Running the nonprofit farm is something both Kat and Susan love. They accept donations and host fundraisers, but
I hope one day I can take a vacation again.
Kat says one of her wildest experiences happened when 5 sheep escaped from a Ramadan festival in Atlanta. Kat and Susan had to bring them to Winterville.
A loose sheep in her car and one in a crate, bang the whole time. And we all caravan. And we got out here and just opened it up and they just jumped out. And we were like, okay, y'all, you're free now.
Kat says they want people to come out to the farm to decompress and become part of saving these animals' lives.
Our mission is not only to work with animals, but it's also to be a part of the community and work with the community in education, especially with young people. And now I get to live my dream of caring for animals.
And the name Sweet Olive Farm comes from the sweet olive plant, Kat's favorite when she worked as a landscaper. And they also have a dog named Olive, who she says isn't really that sweet.
Oh, that's funny. Well, that's all we have for tonight. Thanks for tuning in to Grady Newsource. I'm Veronica Obey.
And I'm Sarah Hammond. Good night.
Source is a student production of the Grady College of Journalism and Mass Communication at the University of Georgia, which is solely responsible for its contents. Views expressed do not represent those of the administration nor the Board of Regents at the University System of Georgia.
What to expect when you're expecting
Like here.
a teenager.
Today, I'm going to show you how to team-proof your home. First step, hide the car keys, preferably somewhere they would never look. Challenges will come up. Be ready for them. Hi, honey.
Ready for the... Mom, you don't use mannequins in the mannequin challenge.
You don't have to know it all to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care.
Did you hear about the pony with a sore throat? He was a little horse. Can I tell you a cat joke? Just kidding. Why couldn't the Why was the basketball court all wet? Why? Because the players kept dribbling all over it. Where the cats go on vacation? New York.
Did you
know parking over tall, dry grass can spark a wildfire?
Only you can prevent wildfires.
Hi. Oh, no. All right, what an auspicious beginning. Good evening. My name is Lucia Vereen. I was kind of the SBM today. I'm the current SBM, but the person who was actually in charge was Rachel right here. Woo! And so she is going to lead this because she made notes and everything, and I did not. So go off. Why is she here? Oh, she's going to be, I guess. She'll be one of the SPMs who replaces Bert and I for next semester. So this was one of her trial runs, and she did a very good job. And here she is.
Okay, well, I'm Rachel, and I also kind of SPM today, and then Bert directed. Yeah. So we'll have Bert talk about what you did today.
Hey, my name's Bert. I directed today. I don't think I had any missed punches. I know the only situation was at the top of the show with that mic 1 audio being kind of funky, and I just kind of kept directing through it because I figured, you know, I can't really do anything, so I'm just going to keep punching the show as best as I could. Yeah, cool. Oh, I did miss the new development singer because there wasn't a script for it in Can, and so it showed up here. But without a script, there's no like cue for it in prompter, and so I was like, I remember verbally saying like, "Is there a cue?" And then I didn't see a cue, and I was like, "All right, I'm just gonna go to the anchor." So I just went to the anchor.
Something like at the top of the script before it, or something?
If we're gonna do this strategy where we're gonna keep it in Can like this, we really just need like words, some sort of script.
Run, stinger, something.
Yeah, because without anything in it, it's Can the program is just gonna skip to the next story, and so that's why there wasn't one in there.
Gotcha.
If you get a bad mic, you'll get a bad mic. Kill it and jack the other anchors up all the way until you get a floor manager to get in and clean it up.
That's very smart. Well, if that happens in the next 3 shows, I will definitely do that. Cool. Yeah, mic 1 is kind of sad. All right, cool. Anything else? No? Okay, bye, guys.
Okay, bye. Okay.
Thanks, Bert.
Okay. Yes, so kind of the source of all of our problems today were just the Anchor 1 mic, because I know that's why we were like a little bit delayed in 12 to 2. So thank you, Majesty, for being patient with that. And then everything else, like sports and the digital hit went really smoothly once we changed out of the mic. And then 2 to 4, thank you again to the anchors for being patient while we were doing that, and also while like literally all of the SPMs were gone in a meeting. So thank you for working through that, and I know you just had like basically just the director doing everything, so thanks for your patience. One issue was all of the VOs and SOTs for the B block were dropped in super clips and not in transfer, so that was like a little bit confusing to our playback person and to our editors. And then we really need anchors down in the studio at 4:30. Packages dropped by 4:45, which most of them were, but then there were a couple that were dropped a little bit late. And then, also no package scripts in the prompter. But other than that, I think it was a really smooth show, other than the mic issue. But yeah, perfect, cool.
Okay. All right, let's hear from Brittany, our producer today. Newscast producer.
Okay, so I think obviously we're all aware of like the audio issues with the mic, and that was a bit. Can you close that door, please? Thank you. Yeah, so I think the audio was the biggest issue with cutting into Sydney's, and it kind of, I think it like frazzled you a little bit because you were like, what's happening? Am I supposed to go yet? Am I not supposed to go yet?
So I think there was a disconnect with the cues because Krug was cueing me like probably like a good 25 seconds before you cued me. So I was listening in my ear and I could still hear Veronica talking. So I was like, I probably shouldn't go even though they're cueing me, but then they were like, go, go. So I was like, okay, so I started talking and then I'm like talking over Veronica and I was like, no, I'm just gonna stop talking. So I was getting 2 different cues at 2 different times. So I ended up just kind of, so there was some.
To cue you ultimately.
Yeah.
Like I think it was my job, so I just would go off
for future reference,
Yeah.
just go off what you hear in the earphone
Yeah.
rather than
I agree.
Because I was watching and I was like, I'm not telling her to go. I was like, I don't know.
Yeah, I think there must have been some sort of like miscommunication, which
Bert,
it happened. So
she was saying that she was getting cued by the crew in the field 20 seconds ahead of time. And
Like, Sydney started talking before I cued her.
I think also it was just like an unusual thing where the microphone wasn't working. So I think they thought Veronica stopped talking prior to when she did because she kind of paused because
The
it was
mic
all
was
staticky.
tripping up, yeah.
and
So
I
I
don't want to like
think-
blame them because they were just
Yeah.
doing what they were told to do. So, but
I think it was just like a
that was
mix
why I
of a
was
lot
like-
of things happening.
That was why I was kind of like, uh-oh, I don't know where.
but you
when
weren't
to-
getting your cue from Maddie until 20 seconds after
That's
you got
correct.
it from the field.
Right. So they were cueing me, and then I just wasn't. I started talking, and then I stopped because I could still hear Veronica, and I was like, I probably shouldn't be talking if I hear Veronica.
Exactly.
So.
I don't know.
So I think,
And Veronica, you hesitated before you pitched it out to Sydney. Why
well,
was
because
that?
of the static, I think.
The mic was going in and out.
During the time I was, I could like hear myself talking, and it like kind of threw me off a little bit.
That was the button being
So
on.
then that's when I also, my mindset was just like I hear myself, and
That was
But
our
yeah.
fault because we had Veronica's
The
IFB
buttons.
on the whole time, so Veronica could hear all of us in the control room, which I think is just confusing when you're trying to read.
But also the microphone. What happened? Was it dying? Is that what happened? The microphone? Yeah. Something was wrong with it. So I think there were just so many things that it was just so much noise, and I think it was confusing you, and then it was confusing when to cue. So that was obviously got off to a little bit of a rocky start there. But going off to the beginning of the day, I think we had good pitches and like a good foundation of creating the day. And I think everyone did a good job with their stories. A lot of things were late, and like that's one thing. If you're gonna ask for graphics from us, like we'd love to help you. Like there's plenty of times in the day that we're free, so like ask us to do these things, not to the last minute. So that way we have time to build it for you, and like it helps you and it helps us because we know the package is gonna get dropped earlier, and also you have your content earlier than waiting for the last minute to realize you don't have time to build it yourself. Like I know I built a lot of graphics for Danny, and I think it sped up the process. Like she dropped her package 30 minutes early, so I think that helps a lot. I think the anchors did a really great job, and with both of your packages, they were really good. Veronica, I loved your stand-up. I thought that was really creative with the car and the glove box. Like it was very, I don't know, I remembered it, so I think that really helped. And then Sarah, I loved your package. Lots of really great visuals and lots of really good nat sound too. When you would like stop your audio track and like put some nat sound, and I think it really made such a difference. Donovan, thanks for fronting that other story for us. Maddie wrote it Monday, and we kind of had to like, we just cut it out of Mondays and just added it back in today, and there was some confusion later in the day, but ultimately that was there since Monday, so I feel like nothing, unless any new developments happened, it was kind of good to go then. Luke, I really loved how you started off that sports package with the SOT, and then it went right into what you were talking about. I just thought that was really creative, and I'm really happy I didn't end up cutting it for time, because that was like the first thing I was going to cut, and then I was like, I don't know what this is. I'm not going to cut it, and I'm really glad I didn't, because I think it added a really great element to the show. The singer was my fault that it didn't run. I should have put something in the script, but now I know for future reference. So Sydney just texted me there was some sort of streaming issue that your mom said.
Oh yeah, I think there were.
Okay. So if you want to hear me talk more, you can go to. They wouldn't hear me right now. Great. Yeah, if social wants to tweet that out. Speaking of social, Christina, I really liked the digital package, and I think it was actually something that was beneficial, like we talked about on Monday, that it was like, okay, if you want to hear the rest of this, go to our website. It actually was like a reason to connect with us. So I think that was really great. Vera, I really liked your stand-up and your with the drawing the pen circle. Now I know if I ever get bit by a snake, which I'm not going to because I'm not going to have bird feeder by my home. See, I learned a lot from your package. I thought that was really great. Majesty did a great job on weather. Sorry I made you re-record the 1:45 into 2 minutes in case you needed it. But I think it was actually helpful for me to know that I also had a 1:45 option. So that helped. And that's, I think, it. And Maddie really helped me a lot today, like she did Monday. So thanks, Maddie.
Thanks.
For everything.
Oh, you're welcome.
Did you want to add something?
I don't really have too much to add because I feel like Brittany hit it all, but I thought the show was strong. I enjoyed watching it. I liked the packages, especially Luke's. I thought your package was really strong, and Sarah. It was a great package. The animals were awesome. And Christina, I really liked some of the elements that you incorporated. I liked when you walked into the New Media Institute and watched you, we watched the door close and stuff like that. Other than that, yeah, just good job, everybody.
I'm digital producer.
Yes, come on up to the front.
I was wondering where you were.
Don't hide.
Okay, so I think we had, as far as what we pushed out on digital today, everything was fantastic. And Wyatt really spearheaded most of the stuff because he's social that we put out. So Wyatt, how well did that graphic do that you did with the baseball game? So if you don't know, there was a baseball game last night for UGA that lasted 6 hours and 33 minutes. And so he came up with this great idea to put out just a graphic of 4 other things that you could do with your 6 hours and 33 minutes of your life instead of playing a baseball game. So how well did it end up doing?
It consistently across Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook did really well, and that I think really spearheaded the engagement that we got, because I don't know if you guys saw, because it's so crazy in the afternoon, but Dr. Bright shared a graph of, I'm not sure how far back it went, but it was the analytics with just our social engagement, and then today it was a very large spike in engagement. So, and I think that was a big driver of that. And then
No, I was gonna say no, seriously, because he was pretty much, because I was working on the digital hit that I did. I really felt like I wasn't as helpful today with Wyatt as I was on Monday, because we weren't really we weren't doing as much stuff together as we did on Monday. But he really killed it. And if you were wondering, you can listen to Old Town Road 208 times in a row instead of watching a baseball game for 6 hours. But other than that, we had that went out. And am I missing anything else? That was really
not
great.
really, but I just Dr. Bright gave me a few notes, and I'm not sure if she shared them with you.
No, I'm
but
yes, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. So Dr. Bright just said we did we had a lot of really good content today, because I think Christina and I did a good job of not only pushing out some of the stories from today, we were able to kind of go back to past stories and push those out as well. And then we also did, like Christina mentioned, we had the baseball graphic, and then some social posts that weren't entirely related to today's show, but were also good to get out and just keep our social platforms moving, because it's such a people are just scrolling and you got to grab their attention. And then one thing that we tried today, where I think Sam ended up doing it, was we ended up putting captions on the Grady Daily, which I think is a good idea. And so we'll see if more people watch it, if the numbers reflect that it was in fact a good idea. But even if the numbers don't show it today, I think that's something for the future. And then we also we were able to kind of slice the Grady Daily up and use part of what Christina did on Twitter for specific posts about what she talked about. And so I don't know that we've ever done anything with Daily on Twitter, and so I think that's a good way to just get more eyeballs on what we're doing.
Yeah, so that was Donovan who brought that to the table to me early this morning. He's like, hey, I think it'll be great if you really spice this up and push that out with additional tweets, so that way we can see how the Daily does on Twitter. Yeah. And I think it did better than when we expected, because we've never done it before. And another thing Dr. Bright did bring to my attention today was that people really do the long form of the video. She said that to you?
Yeah, talk about horizontal.
Horizontal instead of it being, because when you're going on Instagram TV, it's the shape of your phone. But instead, we ended up posting it the way we posted on Instagram today, was just the long form. But I think they've done it before with you. But she was just saying how much better that does on all of our platforms when it's like this. And I feel the same way, because that was my issue with IGTV. I don't particularly like watching something like this where somebody's constantly going in and out of the frame. That bugs me.
You're not shooting in landscape mode?
Yeah, landscape. Landscape as opposed to horizontal. Not horizontal. Vertical. So yeah, that's it.
No, it's not going to stand there. Why don't you give it to David Hazinski? Professor Hazinski is joining us today and is going to offer a critique. So he's always welcome in this room because he built this room. So why don't you come on up? You want to come up?
Yeah, I thought it was a pretty good show. I thought it was well produced. It made sense. but let me look for stuff that's wrong, because that's what I look for. I thought the live shot looked really good in the framing. The crew may have screwed up communications with you, but I think that it was framed really well and it looked pretty good. There was an audio delay when your package rolled. You were using a still, but there was no sound at the beginning of it. So we thought it wasn't rolling. At least I thought it wasn't rolling.
That was
the
audio.
clipped it.
Yeah.
What's that?
I think that's
clipped it.
the control room.
Yeah, I
audio.
watched it back, and I think what happened was they just didn't put on the, what is it, DDR1 audio,
Yeah.
playback audio or whatever.
Because there was audio. Because
And I think that was an NGM graphic with the
phoner.
The phoner.
Yeah.
Yeah, that I think that helped a great
Oh,
deal.
it wasn't
No, I just made it. It wasn't MJ.
Brittany made it for me.
Well,
like
that was
the
great.
person.
Did
Oh,
a good
thanks.
job on that.
Thank you.
My only point is you have the text for that on the very bottom of it.
Mm-hmm.
And it literally the second time before I found the text, before I knew it was there.
Okay, got it.
You have, there's a lot of white, and then you had white. White is always the first thing people look at. The most white has the most luminosity. I'll explain it after this is over with. And bigger graphics. When you guys use graphics, you have little bitty lines in the middle. They need to fill the screen with it. One of the things you have to watch, your hair was starting to come down in the middle. It's why you look sexy in a bar. I'm not being smart. This is body language stuff. What happens is, especially with women's hair, when it comes out and hides the eyes, the body language says you're hiding something, you're mysterious. That's the opposite effect of what you want on television. You want people to see your eyes all the time. So if your hair tends to fall in front of your face, or you're not paying attention and starts hiding your eyes, spray the crap out of it. So that it's not. I mean, this is like body language stuff.
Yeah.
It's not. The armed robbery, I thought, had a cool graphic. There's a lot of good stuff in here. Do you guys know how to use animated backgrounds on graphics like that? Okay, you know those jump backs are up there? Well, not everybody does, but I can show you that if you like after that, but if you do, good for you. The gun safety thing, a couple of things with that. Do you ever find pictures of the kids?
I did. I was talking to Professor Shaven about it. They had like a GoFundMe page for the girl that passed away, but Professor Shaven expressed that he didn't think it was a good idea to use the photo, so that's the reason I didn't.
I would have. And we'll disagree about different stuff. I probably would have. I think you guys missed saying the obvious. If a GoFundMe page has been set up to help this girl, I probably would have opened with that, since that's the latest and greatest, and then you get to see the kid. Right. We ended up having Scott Berry, I think, with an interview which wasn't very animated, and he had a piece of a window in a right-hand corner of it that, again, the eye will always go to the hottest spot. So if you have a chunk of a window in there, it's going to pull my eye over to that. You need to get that out of there. The problem with it is we started with Sheriff Berry wasn't animated. Then we went into, not that it's an interview, that's not that he's not animated. And then we went into a still frame. So I don't have a sense of the story. And you had a great stand-up. I thought the stand-up was really good and illustrative. If I did not have that GoFundMe page thing, I would have started with that stand-up. Generally, I don't like it, but if you can't show the kids, then you can show what it's about. And I think this is also one of those stories you can express some emotion with, because it's so freaking sad. You know, that a little kid shoots another little kid because of a stupid mistake. And you could express that in a story, and I think that would have set it up better. That a lot of people were worried about it. It was a simple mistake. Somebody had a gun, this woman had a gun in the thing, and you're showing this. It would have set the story up better. Then everything else would have made more sense. Sheriff Berry's like, he's like commenting on it. You know what I mean? Yeah. That's, not to beat you up to death with that. I don't think you needed a beeper in the thing, too. Okay. Phone call.
Phone call.
With the graphics, what some old people like me call beepers, when we used to call them. Medical marijuana. There's a lot of shots of marijuana there. I don't know how you feel Professor Shaven about crediting marijuana, crediting video?
Well, it's from CNN News Source.
Yeah, then we don't have to credit it. You're right. So most of that was okay. I love the snake tease. I thought that was great.
I agree.
The only thing I would have liked is on all of the teases for a graphic over it. They look naked. You know, like coming up, snakes everywhere or something. It's kind of biblical,
Like a
I know,
banner.
but
Yeah, it's a good idea.
one of the other things, I think you said 4 Grady Newsource. Yeah.
No, she was anchoring. Someone
No,
else.
you weren't anchoring. Somebody did. Where was this from? Danielle. Marijuana. That's what it was. And then you said, I'm you. No Grady Newsource. This carries some legal weight if it's David Hazinski, NBC News, David Hazinski, NBC News, Managua. If it's for NBC News, that means I'm not staff. I'm a stringer. And I'm working for them on a basis. But the problem is when I'm hearing it 3 different ways in one newscast, you need to get whatever Professor Shaven decides what the policy is, but it's usually David Hazinski, Grady Newsource in Athens or whatever. The snake season stuff, I like that story a lot. However, I wouldn't have opened with that. You did see snakes, so you saw what the story's about to begin with, and that was good. I would have, and you had some great video of a snake crawling all over this guy. I would have opened with that. And you guys are kind of missing the obvious stuff. This snake's crawling all over Professor Bill Jones. He's okay with it, but a lot of people get creeped out with this kind of thing. What he wants you to know is that these snakes, you need to pay attention to these snakes when you're, and it would have set the story up and him up perfectly with and everybody would have went, oh, Mary, look at that damn snake, you know. You get my point? Then once you get their attention, you have to get their attention first and tell them. If you restructured that, it would have worked a lot better because he had this great stuff. And he had a lot of good video for the story that we shot, and some really attractive snakes, I got to say. I thought it was also a great stand-up, an illustrative stand-up, something I didn't know you were supposed to circle your hand when you got bit by a cobra or whatever before you die. You know? But it actually makes sense. But again, if you take those elements and think, what's going to get people's most attention when they're looking at the story, what's going to get them involved in the story, with all of your stories, what's the story about, would have been there. But you still started with snakes, so that's okay. Phone scam, we talked about this, or the digital stuff. What's missing from your story? What was the story about?
Phone. Oh, Siri and Amazon. Yeah.
And Alexa?
Yeah.
Did I see it?
Yeah, I was trying to find some, I didn't have an Alexa, so I should have gone out and done that ahead of time.
Okay, that's the answer.
Okay.
Too late. She's pre-beaten up. The first stand-up, we were talking, you shot it. Because he's smaller, he's not as tall as she is, it's shooting up. So you have a black woman with 2 bands of white lights behind her head, which again is white, so it's drawing my eye to a background. If they had just got that camera up to her eye level, it would have worked a heck of a lot better. And the point is not where the shooter is comfortable, where you're going to look the best. And if you're on camera, yell. I don't look good this way. I want to look good, so you better shoot me right. But I thought that story was kind of creative. I don't have the slightest problem with doing this as kind of a walking stand-up through a thing. I think that's fine. It was a good technique, and it was there. One of the things I absolutely would not want to do, which I personally hate, is opening a story with a question. So, what do you think happened here? I can hear Joe Sixpack sitting there going like, I don't give a shit. You know? We get paid to answer questions for people, not ask them additional pejorative questions that they probably know the answer to anyhow. And just your name thing at the end. Again, whatever Professor Shaven's policy is, I'll be out of here in a minute. I would have pumped that story and teased that baseball story with 20 innings and these guys working, and I would have literally on the air thanked the crew for hanging out that long to get that shot. Did they get that shot?
No,
Or was that theirs?
that was his friend.
No, that was a video from one of my friends that was at the game.
I would thank your friend. No, I'm serious. I think that's part of the story, and that's part of storytelling. You know, my friend Josh shot that. He waited through that whole thing and gave us a video so you could see it. And everybody's going like, Josh, you're a maniac for putting up, you know, whatever that stuff is. I think both Sports and Weather had good body language. And you had a second stand-up with no mic in front of the trophies for gymnastics. Why?
I was using like a mic that sits on top of the camera. I didn't have like a little,
Yeah, it's got to be a lab. And what happens, audio is way, way, way more important than video is. If your audio's screwed up, people won't pay attention to it. They'll instantly turn off because they can't really hear it clearly. If your video is screwed up, they may stick with it. Audio is really critical. And if it sucks and you have trouble hearing it, drop it. Write something else in the story. Just don't use it. And just for you guys for audition tapes, don't put anything you have to apologize for in a tape, because you're not going to be sitting next to that news director or that manager who's going to hire you. So it's got to be stuff that's there. One of the other ones, and this is a pet peeve of mine, you double, by the way, that story, the gymnastics story, was crying for natural sound. I'm sure you shot sound when you were shooting the thing, but I have that stuff up hot, not to interfere with the narration, your copy, but loud enough people hear it. Landing on a boom, landing on a beam, you know.
Yeah, I think I cut the volume down too much on my sound because you couldn't hear any of it, which I was kind of mad about myself.
It's a big deal with sports because it's like punctuated moments. You know what I mean? So getting that natural sound in there is actually pretty damn cool. And I said one of my complaints, and I think I mentioned this once here before, is you double cut the gymnast. Use double cut meaning or triple cut meaning 2 or 3 interviews from the same person in the same location during the same story. We know from a ton of studies that if you do that, the first time they go, oh, what does that gymnast have to say? Oh, that's fascinating. The second time the audience goes, I saw her before, I know what she's talking about, I'm going to get a beer. They're gone. And if you use a triple cut to fill up time, you're not filling up time, they're gone. They're not paying attention. Because how you can do that is walk her around, shoot a different location, ask a different angle, shoot her somewhere else. You may not have been able to do that, I'm aware of their practice, but yeah, doing 2 or 3 interviews, not there.
But what he's talking about is really this world of not having a photographer, right? You're expected to do it all. And in the old days, this, would not be your problem, but now it is your problem.
Yeah, but I mean, either
David
way.
Zinsky here had photographers, probably multiple photographers. For his,
some stories, yeah.
Right.
But I mean, either way, like you're still.
Because he needed the help.
In a setting where you're doing an interview with like 5 or 6 other people too. So I don't know that I wouldn't been able to like physically move them to a different angle. So that's the only difficult thing about it. I don't really think it has that much to do with the photographer.
I think he makes a good point though, which is just if you can do it, make it look a little different. It doesn't feel the same.
We shoot a stand-up or an interview. We shoot the person walking in. We shoot the person walking out. We shoot the interview. We shoot cutaways. And if you're the only cutaway, then you're the cutaway. And this gives you stuff to edit to. And you can walk in. A gymnast Mary Smith came into this meet. She's walking into the shot and matches your copy. Okay? She's ready to go. Blah, blah, blah. Allison DiCarlo, I think that's one I had.
That's the one that started with a SOT.
Yeah. It's a nice SOT. I think that made perfect sense. And I think he got into the story, and I thought all of that was well done. Am I that close?
Yeah, thanks for leaving me some time.
I'm here to serve. This just flew by, you know? It's real easy when you're not getting paid. You know? It's just fun.
Did you see the last package?
Yeah, I thought the last package was good except for one thing. I did not like the glasses on a woman. I wanted to see her eyes. She had a high-brimmed hat, and
She was a little dark.
Part of her persona. And the glasses, but if you're doing an interview with her, ask her to turn the hat up and take the glasses off. And she'll say, well, I don't know, I can't see anything. And so look, all you have to do is hear my question.
Okay, and here we are. Thank you so much for tuning in. Facebook had general issues, and that's why it went down. We'll see you later.